But it's time for us to see the headlines now. Let's see what the papers are screaming this morning. Of course, we have some of the issues that have been on for the past week, resurfacing again on the headlines. Let's begin with the Blueprint newspaper. Blueprint says presidency 2023 a must-win election. Tinubu is saying this. I'll hand over to you. Buhari is saying this. Our ticket not sectional, not an imposition. Shettima is saying this as well. And all this were from the unveiling that took place. All right, that's a Blueprint. The Nigerian News Direct is next. And he says Buhari predicts Tinubu Shettima's victory. Buhari predicts Tinubu Shettima's victory. All right. Ticket, repeat of 1993, winning formula. Adamu is saying this as the chairman of the APC. And Khan disowns bishops at Shettima's unveiling. That's all on the front page of the Nigerian News Direct. The Nation newspaper says Tinubu on Shettima have made hard best choice. That's what the Nation newspaper says. Tinubu on Shettima have made hard and best choice. Okay, let's go to Daily Trust now. Daily Trust says on 2023 is the focus here. Nigerians will vote competence over sentiments. That's Kashim Shettima is saying this. Of course, that was from his speech at the formal unveiling of his candidature at the APC, for the APC party. Our ex-Borno governor's choice, hard but best. Tinubu is saying this, right? Kemi has the rest.
Right. With the leadership newspaper, the reaction of the vice presidential candidate of the APC, Kashim Shettima, is also the big story there, as it calls it, still on the Muslim ticket. He says we are in presidential race for Nigeria project, not Islamic agenda. That's still the lead story in First News, but then it calls the latest on the Muslim ticket controversy. It calls its lead story drama as Christian clerics throng Shettima's official unveiling. It's a different line for this Nigeria, as we see next. It calls its big story there, planned nationwide protest, NLC and FG draw the battle line. Labour says no stopping our action. That's for this Nigeria. Let's go to the Punch, leading with the latest on the ASU strike, saying NLC rejects Buhari's 2-week ultimatum, insists on protests. NLC falls 2-week timeline, says 3 days enough to meet demands. Now let's look at the state of the economy. On national economy, it says Nigeria can tackle unemployment by strengthening gig economy. That's according to experts, saying Nigeria can tackle unemployment by strengthening the economy. That's for the national economy and the last paper here with me.
All right. Let's wrap it up. Let's top it up with the foreign news here. We go to the Middle East. Saudi Gazette says Arab coalition rejects Houthi allegations and denies carrying out airstrikes in Adali. All right, that's what Saudi Gazette has. And then the Gulf News from Dubai says 6-time Prime Minister elected Sri Lankan president. Of course, you know Sri Lanka has been in turmoil for the past weeks, and the president, there was an uprising in the country where people protested against economic situation in that country, and the president had stepped out. In fact, he was chased out of the presidential villa from the massive protest that thronged the villa.
And then the prime ministerial search in the U.S. has now been narrowed to 2. Liz Truss,
in
the UK,
yes.
Liz Truss and Rishi Sunak.
Exactly.
Yeah, so we'll see how.
We'll see how it's becoming more interesting. Yeah. I must say, and their agenda they have is quite clear,
Yeah,
both of them.
both of them.
So it's left for the people now to decide.
It's very interesting that there's no white male.
It is.
No white male in the running.
Yeah.
It's a white woman and a nation running to become number one citizen of the British.
But I think this is really interesting. In fact, there are sometimes, even here in Nigeria, we celebrate the election of Nigerians, in the House of Commons sometimes as legislators.
We do that. Not only House of Commons, even in the US.
Even in the US, exactly, as mayor and all of that.
Even in the UK especially, now there are a lot
it tells you that
the
democracy is open, and it should be open. It should be more inclusive. We have made reference to Lagos sometime, where you have an Igbo man as a commissioner, or an Igbo man as a House of Rep member or House of Assembly. It makes it more beautiful.
A melting pot.
Exactly.
Right. It's even more instructive that within the party now. So they are doing all this. Of course, there is order. There is a standard that everyone is following, and at least from what we can see now, it appears open. Everyone is given a chance. It just has to mean that you go out there and test your popularity.
Yeah. And when we make those kind of references, we shouldn't make it on the ideal perspective as to, okay, that is what
because
happens
it has
there.
gone this way.
We have to also narrow
it
down back to what we have
yes,
in our own situation.
Like, yes, we
right.
have to.
It tells us back what we're talking about, the Muslim ticket.
Yes.
So if we begin to imbibe that tolerance, that trust, the understanding, the acceptance, then these things wouldn't make any sense. In fact, we will enjoy it when Congolese politicians will say, see what Nigeria is doing. When let's learn from there. When Zambian politicians will say, see what Nigerians are doing, as the case may be. In fact, we make reference to Rwanda here, where there is no Hutu or Tutsi anymore because they have moved on from beyond that. Yes. And we make references to these things beautifully. And we see them as maybe utopia sometimes, but it's reality.
It's just like what I said, and the scriptures. In the New Testament, it says, we are neither Jews nor Gentiles.
Yeah.
And he himself said, in the same 1 Corinthians chapter 1, he said, the Jews seek sign. He said, the Greeks seek wisdom. But we preach Christ crucified. In other words, we have nothing to do with whether you are Greek, you are Gentile, you are anything. You are just one humanity.
And the
that's
blood,
what it's
and
saying.
the blood that runs,
yes.
that runs in our veins.
Exactly. So that's what it's saying.
All right. Well,
while all this is on and now, of course, it looks like the nation might just be set on a total shutdown if the government of the day doesn't do the needful. We're looking at the threats, more and more threats, more and more unions saying they will join in a solidarity protest, which, if care is not taken, could even lead to people down in their tools, these officers down in their tools. Now, federal government is saying it's illegal. On the other hand, now NLC is saying it's well within their rights. We've seen aviation workers also threatening to go on strike. Even the students are also threatening to hit the roads to protest. Well, 2-week timeline is already running, but a major chunk of Nigerians believe that 2 weeks is even too long if the government is serious about ending this imbroglio.
Well, the point there is both sides understand what has been going on all the while.
These are long-standing issues.
They have signed memorandum of understanding. They have signed memorandum of action. They have met. They have agreed. They have, and so what is left that is still causing controversy are just little things that government can call ASU and say, oh yeah, sit down, let us agree on this, and this is the timeline, and this is what is involved, time frames. That is what ASU wants to see. So the point there is, the president had given a marching order. Minister of Education, you and the others, take over this issue. 2 weeks, I want this thing to be cleared. Of course, we expect that when the commander-in-chief speaks, it's like God in heaven has spoken. So Nigerians expect that ASU, the strike, should be a thing of the past. I think, on the other hand, the NLC threatening to also join in solidarity is a way of putting more pressure on the government to say,
after all, they are affiliates. They are all part of the larger NLC.
Of course, NLC is the mother of all of those. So it's a way of putting pressure on the government.
It's interesting now that they removed it from the hands of Ngige as Minister of Labour to Education. And Ngige was not the one making the policies. Ngige was not the one making all the decisions. It was just the man thrown out there. Now they were blaming Ngige, but Ngige was only a voice of what decisions have been made. I mean, to arrive at any decision, the institutions that are involved, it's not even Ministry of Labour, Ministry of Education, Secretary to the Government of the Federation, right. The head of service. Those are the posts, the accountant general, and those are the people that are really involved.
And of course, ASU.
And I mean on the government side. Those are the people. Ngige was just the voice there, and they were blaming him, whereas he was supposed to be the one to articulate the positions of the entire government. Right. I think they're using him as a scapegoat.
Well, on the other hand, one would say since it's a dispute between
so it falls
workers, union, and all of that. So somehow it falls in the purview of Ngige.
And he had been vocal.
Exactly, he has been.
Yes,
he has been.
So naturally, the hits and the glory eventually would be his.
I think they're doing what Americans call the good cop and bad cop.
Okay. Yes. But the point there is, if this thing settles and it goes well, of course, Ngige will share from the credit of it because he has been on this for a long time.
Yes.
If he goes south and nothing, of course, he's going to. I believe he understands perfectly how this thing is playing out so far. All right, that's the analysis of some of the issues that are on the papers. And we certainly will go to the streets later on when it is time for us to hear from Nigerians what they are seeing on the front pages of the newspaper.